It's a pleasure to welcome my next guest. His name is Nami Hagigi. Nami, hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much, Nicole, for inviting me for this interview. And you got it, you pronounced it very well.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much. You did give me a bit of coaching before we started. I met you on a group chat last Saturday, which was really kind of inspiring. It was very nice, although I couldn't work out how to change the screens to see everybody. Hearing you talk, I enjoyed what you said, I enjoyed your voice. So it'd be nice just to know a little bit more about you. I mean, where are you from? What did you do?
Okay, right. I'm originally from Persia, now known as Iran. And at the age of 14, I moved to the UK to study. And I studied English in Oxford and then Manchester. Then ended up living in London and finally in Ireland before I moved to Spain. And I came to Spain in 2000 to stay here for a year. And I'm here. I'm here for now. 20 years. And enjoying and loving the life on the coast, really.
Have you
And
always been in some kind of work that was helping others, or have you come into this recently? What's been your path?
yes, I actually studied accountancy, and for a couple of years I worked as an accountant, and then soon realized that I loved working with people and solve their problems and help people. And now looking back on all my career of almost 40 years, looking back, connecting the dots, I can see that that's what I've always been doing. No matter what I was involved with, it was always to do with helping people achieve their goals, achieve their dreams, and supporting them, motivating them to go for their dreams, and giving them tools, not just giving them helpful advice, but showing them the path and supporting them through the process. And for the last 10 years, I've been doing that as a coach, mentor, also as a leadership trainer. And I'm finding that more and more people are finding and realizing how powerful the coaching tools are and how beneficial it can be for their life in the business. And it's unfortunately something that we're not taught at school, colleges, universities. They're not touching on any of those subjects. And when I was growing up, I realized I really didn't have the tools needed to communicate better, to connect with people, and even serving people, and didn't have the right tools, how to control our minds, our thinking, how to be more effective. All those things I had to actually go and study afterwards, and spend a lot of time. The last 25 years, I've been teaching myself, learning, going to courses about how I can be a better version of myself. And then I pass that information and experience and tools to the people I work with, my clients, and people who train with me.
A lot of people, unfortunately, feel that asking for help is a sign of weakness, whether it's in their personal life or in their corporate life. How does one go about helping people understand that that isn't necessarily the case?
That's a good question, actually. I would say for me, we have all these mindsets, all these things built over the years. So from, based on our values, our belief systems, our growing up process. However, some of those beliefs maybe don't work for us so well. So I would ask myself the question, how is this helping me right now? Not asking for help. And give it a try. That's what I'm a great believer in. Whatever you see, hear about, why don't you go out there and try it out for yourself? And then you can actually make up your mind based on your personal experience, rather than, listening to what others say, which might not be really relevant to you, because a lot of people project. They're looking at their mindset, their belief system, and they project it onto your life. And of course, a lot of that does not apply. That's why we don't really like advice. We'd reject a lot of advice. You would know if you have children, most of your children won't listen to what you say because you don't understand. And they're right. We don't understand. We can never have the experience they have, the belief systems they have, the knowledge they have. So in coaching, we don't give advice. That's why sometimes I have to switch my hat from a coach and become a mentor to be able to give them advice, because in business, just asking them questions is not going to necessarily help them move forward. It's not going to give them the tools they need. So I switch over to mentorship with their permission. Otherwise, as a coach, we literally ask questions to help them get from where they are to where they want to go. And it doesn't have to be help. It could be support. It could be information. Change that word in your mind and go for whatever works for you.
Mindset seems to play an awful important part in changing and molding ourselves to be our best selves. So how do we go about changing our mindset?
Well, everything in life for me is about creating a balance. So if, for example, right now we're going through a lot of challenges all around the world, and if we were to just listen to what is said on the news all the time and be bombarded with a lot of negative information, that's going to impact. That information goes into our brain, but it affects our emotions, it affects our physiology, and we can actually become stuck. We can not find our way out because we're focusing on the wrong thing. What could be a solution to this? How can I help other people? How can I get myself?
Nami, you were an accountant. Was that pressure, external pressure to do that? What led you there in the first place? And how did you then make that decision to change?
Well, at that age, with the best information I had, that's the decision I made based on what I had learned up to that date. And I was good with numbers and I wanted to serve, and I found that to be an effective way of doing it. But that led me on the path to doing what I'm doing, serving my clients as a business coach, because I help them visualize what it is they want to achieve, always starting with end in mind. A lot of people, don't really know where they want to go. I ask people, my clients, I also have coffees with people, over 300 over the last 2-3 years. And this is where I give service to people. And they have 1 hour with me. It's called Coffee with Nami. And during that time, I help them get clarity about what it is they want to achieve. And once we have that picture, then it's much easier to find our path to that. A lot of people don't know where they're going. And I give them an example. I said, if you just jump in a taxi in Marbella outside your office, and first piece of conversation is, where do you want to go? Yet a lot of people don't know where they're going with their life, where they're going with their business. They're just moving forward, hoping for the best. Imagine telling the taxi driver, I don't want to go to Madrid, or just take me somewhere, or let's just move. Then they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to ask you to leave the cab. You really need to give them exact direction, both to the taxi driver and also in your life, to your subconscious mind, so you can actually start working, building towards something. And once you have that vision, it becomes a very easy process of bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So you can be in the right places, studying the right things, learning more about what you need to achieve. And step by step, I actually work backwards from your vision to today. That way we can actually know what you need to do in 3 years' time, what you need to do next year, and what you need to do this month, this week, today. So every action you take can be on that path of getting you to that final vision. Without a vision, you could end up anywhere. By luck, you could end up in the right place, but it's much better for me anyway. I like to be in control of my destiny. So I work on my path and my vision. And we can change it. We're not stuck with it. You can always change it, revise it, and so on. But please, 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 decide where it is you want to go and build that vision, build that story. When everything is perfect with your business, with your life, what does that look like?
It's I love the analogy of the taxi, because it is the first question, and yet it's a question that we often never ask ourselves, and if we do, we don't know the answer. So if you want to know where you're going to in your life, keeps hearing the Mahogany song, do you know where you're going to? If you want to know where you're going to and you need assistance, I can highly recommend contacting Nami. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I think I'll take you up on that offer to have more chats, because I think our viewers would love a few tips of how to vision their lives. And while we're all at home, what a perfect opportunity to spend time doing the most fundamental is, where are you going in life?
Absolutely. It's the foundation, and there are many ways you can do this. I also run a networking group in Malaga called Malaga Business Mind with 3,000 business owners. We're members and we have regular events. And anybody who would like to, they will find me online, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I have the offer there. All they need to do is book themselves in my calendar. I'll be more than happy to show them how they can do this step by step.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a super day, and stay home, stay safe.
Thank you very much. You too. Hope to see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Every evening at 8 p.m, I'm going out to my balcony, as is most of Spain, to clap and make as much noise as possible to show our gratitude for all the medical staff who are literally risking their lives to save ours. And it's not just the medical staff, of course, everyone who's out there, the police, the truck drivers, we're all in this together. So please join us at 8 p.m. every single evening at an open window, on your terrace, in your private garden, wherever you're allowed to be, but outside, and make as much noise as possible. I think you'll quite enjoy that. If you're the only one clapping, very soon others will follow suit. Let's pray that this will be over soon. Stay safe, stay home.
Tearing us apart. Poison arrows shoot straight to your heart.
Jesper Sander Peterson is the president of the Costa Press Club, and that is a club that unites a lot of the media on the Costa del Sol, which hopefully helps get information that's important circulated. The media is going through an interesting time at the moment, although technology is a wonderful way to connect. So Jesper, good morning, and it's lovely to welcome you to my home and to be in your home. How are you?
I'm sitting approximately 60 kilometers from where you are in the outskirts of Torremolinos, but modern technology permits us to maintain this conversation and share it with everybody who's watching your television.
Are you at home with your family? What is the lockdown like for you personally?
I mean, my lockdown is working as a tourist guide is not possible at the time being. My wife will soon start working again in a rent-a-car company, but they are probably going to be under some sort of staff control as well. But we're doing fine. I've got a big terrace and we've got a dog, which is a nice excuse to be able to get out and get some fresh air and do some shopping according to the rules that the government has established.
Are you still in contact with the people of the press club? Are there certain things that you think at a time like this are worth sharing with our community from the feedback that you have in general?
No, I mean, we have our Facebook section for our members and we're using that as a tool. And obviously we had scheduled an activity the 1st of April, but that has been cancelled. We are like everybody else in this country waiting to see better times, and that includes the members of the Costa Press Club. Everybody are working from their different platform and doing their task to inform not just expats, but Spaniards as well. And it's very important. That's the role of the press right now. The working conditions have changed, but that doesn't mean that we can't work or share information and make sure that the information gets to the right people with the right content.
When we were chatting last time, when we met at the Paloma Blanca Boutique Hotel, we talked about the fake news in the press. And unfortunately, there seems to be a bombardment on the social media of very fake and very distressing news. How can people decipher which is correct and what isn't at a time like this, with such people taking advantage of the situation?
The first thing people can do is to make sure which are the sources. And secondly, find out whether it's just one source that is claiming whatever they may claim on the social media that turns out to be a liar, untrue, or a version of what the official channels have provided of information. We saw it with a French minister proclaiming that a certain type of pill was not the right thing to take if you needed a painkiller. that was not a fake news, but that was converted into a fake news. It's a question of being critical. We have plenty of time right now, everybody, but we still have to be aware that some news that we receive, social media, the other types of media, has to be taken with a certain amount of precaution before we start acting upon the conclusion of that information.
How serious do you think the situation is? A lot of foreigners, particularly here, are used to just living a holiday lifestyle, even if they're residents, and perhaps are taking more notice of the English news than the Spanish news. And regarding lockdown, the requirements are very different.
I think things have changed, not just for the expats, for everybody who are physically in Spain. Spaniards, tourists who have not been able to return to the home country, and expats. We all have to be aware that the conditions of living and working and behaving have suddenly become under control of a different type of force. The pandemic is now in control how we behave and what we do. The precaution we take. Prior to the pandemic, we knew it would be nice if we washed our hands a bit more frequently. Now we know it's an essential element to avoid spreading out this virus.
It's quite interesting to see that in so many ways we're all having to go back to basics.
I mean, I was speaking to you the other day. My mother in Denmark, I'm talking about isolation, and that is a huge problem among elderly people. My mother in Denmark, she is in a resident for Alzheimer patients. My brother can't visit her anymore. So what did my brother do? Which is something that I can recommend a lot of people to do something similar. He spoke with the staff in the elderly care home, and we can now send letters to our mother with photos. The same letters the staff member will print out and read and make sure that my mother doesn't feel lonely, although my brother and nobody else from the family can visit her right now. It's a tool showing good-hearted acts like we see in a lot of cases in these hard times.
I read a post that was very spot on, in my opinion, in Spanish, that was saying that the football icons and these movie star icons are now being replaced by the medical staff and the lorry drivers who are getting our supplies to us, which is really how it always should be, that the people who are hands-on, like I like to do in my show, behind the scenes, is the people who put it together that really should have more importance and more recognition for what they do anyway.
Yeah, but that's how it should be in any circumstances. The problem or the situation has changed drastically, and now we are aware that without truck drivers, without staff in the hospitals, with other essential people working in different areas, they are equally or even more important than a movie star or football player who is making more than enough money on through their work. But now we have realized that these people, without them, we are in deep trouble, and we should recognize them for what they are doing to make sure that we have goods in the supermarket, that we can go and get some medicine in the pharmacy, and other essential part of the modern society. Prior to this pandemic, we've just been doing it, and we haven't been appreciating the same way that we're doing right now, because without them, the situation would be even worse, although it is very, very bad.
Well, I think it is an opportunity for us all to go back to our roots and to appreciate really those things that we do need in our lives and the things that are just extra luxuries. I really appreciate you taking your time, Jesper, to chat with us. Perhaps we can check back in a couple of weeks and see how things are going.
I will be happy to do so. Nice to see your face, although we are in different areas, but that really doesn't matter. Nice voice you have. And your daughter right behind you has a very, very beautiful face. Send me a photo.
Thank you. It's saying we adapt to time. So I've had my children far away, but they're kind of close. We have to adapt. And it's lovely to see you, Jess, but big love to your family, and I wish your mum well, and we'll speak soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
A lot of people prefer to take their own car when going out at night. However, when it comes to time to go home, that might not be the safest or wisest option. For some, just one glass of wine could put you over the legal limit, which means if you drive, you could put yourself or others at risk. If you find yourself in this dilemma and think possibly you should not be driving, you can just give Linear Director a call. They will order and pay for a taxi, which will take you and your fellow companions who were with you in the car home with up to a 25-kilometer radius, as long as you all fit in that one taxi and you're all going to the same place. You can even ask for them to pick up your car and take that back too. And this is 7 days a week from midnight to 7 a.m. and up to 4 times a month. And this is obviously all in addition to the fabulous insurance that you get with Linear Director.
I've asked Masha Malka, author, coach, speaker, to come back to the program because everyone I've spoken to and the subjects come up has said about how this time at home has made them reflect on what does it mean to go back to normal afterwards. Being at home with one's family, children, are we looking forward to going back to work? Are we enjoying what we're doing? It is a moment to reflect. So I'm going to pass this over to Masha, the 1-minute coach. She's a guidance counselor, really, of the spirit, and let her guide us with a few steps to help us through it. Masha, welcome back.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for having me. Yes, this could be quite a challenging time, and quite often we can find ourselves getting anxious, more often maybe than usual, because we're not sure what the future will bring, and that can make us anxious. Anxiety belongs in the future, and it's about not having control of what will happen and not feeling that we might be capable of handling it. So I just want to show a little technique that if that feeling of anxiety comes over, this is what you can do. You can do it with your eyes open, or you can close. I prefer to close my eyes because then it's easier to focus within. So just close your eyes when that happens and take 3 deep breaths. And when you breathe in, just feel the cool air coming through your nostrils. And as you breathe out, you feel the warm air coming out of your nostrils and all the tension coming out with it. And then you do it again, feeling the cool, healing, relaxing air coming in. And you breathe out the warm air with tension. Breathe out the tension. Breathe in cool, healing air. And breathe out any tension. And now with your eyes closed, just listen to all the tiny sounds around you. Just try and hear everything there is to hear. Maybe you can hear some birds in the background. Maybe some sounds from the next room. Maybe some cars in the distance. Just listen. Now focus if there is anything you can see behind your closed eyes. Can you see any colors, any shapes? Whatever you see, just try and notice what it might be. Maybe nothing at all, it doesn't matter. And now just notice how your legs feel. Do they feel warm or cold, heavy or light? Then you can go through all the parts of your body, just paying attention to each part of your body and how it feels. And after you do that, you just take your time to do that, and then you open your eyes. And you can come back to this moment in time. And what this exercise will help you to do is it will bring you to here and now, because you're using your senses in the present. You're using your hearing, trying to see what's behind your eyelids, you feel how your body feels. And so when you bring yourself to here and now, you're not going to be feeling anxiety anymore, because again, anxiety is something that you worry about that might or might not happen in the future. But when you come to here and now, you realize that everything is fine, you're alive, you're breathing. That's something already to be very grateful for. You have your loved ones, and that's it. Just focus on what you're grateful for and what's here and now.
I'm very grateful for you joining us once again, Masha. Take care, stay safe, stay home, and we'll chat again next week. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Well, that's it for another week. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like your friends to watch also, they can do so online. Just go to the RTV Marbella website to see our programs, or go to nicoleking.es for an easy link to my programs, Marbella Now, also to my column in the Euro Weekly News Marbella Moments, and a link to our Zero Hero Incentive, which will be up and running once again once the restaurants and bars are working and we're back to normal. In the meanwhile, take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, and I look forward to seeing you again for another installment, and keep up to date with what's going on in Marbella now. Adiós, cuidaros, yo me quedo en casa.
Change if we try.